Namaste to the public of Toronto. It has been an enriching experience to have travelled to the States and to Canada. We have had the opportunity to present a series of lectures, one on Lord Krishna, one on Rama Bhakti, and 3 days of lectures, which is called Upanyasam in Sanskrit, at Toronto. And like to thank SVBF and Bharathi Kalamandram for having given us this experience. What we have noticed is that the public, the audience of Toronto, are very receptive, and the discussions with them is proving informative on both sides, the audience and the speaker. This spirit will help enrich the lives of not only the current but the future generations. When information is passed on to the public, it turns to be knowledge. And when knowledge is put to practice the right way, it turns to be wisdom. So our sole objective is to give rise to people who would put whatever they have learned, the values, the virtues, into daily practices and enrich and become people with wisdom. So again, thanking the hosts for having given us this opportunity, and kudos to the public of Toronto for having attended all the days with so much of fervent attitude and wholeheartedness that has always encouraged artists like us and younger people like us. Thank you. Rishibhiv parigitani tani vakshyami bhutaye. This is a beautiful line from a work called as Vishnu Sahasranamam, where it is said that the compilation of the 1,000 holy names of God is just not holy because Bhishmacharya has said. It is because the rishis have chosen each of these names. Rishibhiv parigitani. Sanatana Dharma is just not a work of one individual. It is a compilation of hard work and contemplating of so many such realized and revered souls. Many such are the rishis who lived only on fruits and water but contemplated on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, as a student of science and of course later technology, I have understood, appreciated and been a recipient to such high-tech technology. Nevertheless, science believes in what it sees and what is proven. What is beyond the obvious is what the rishis saw. So it is very important for us to understand what is obvious and to appreciate people who see beyond the obvious. The rishis saw what was beyond the obvious, and the work of what they saw beyond the obvious is seen in Ramayana, Mahabharata, the Puranas, and Vedas and Vedantas foremost. So as a student of Sanskrit and the other few Indian regional languages, I have always been amazed at the works and the contributions of such realized souls. So I wouldn't say that science and religion go hand in hand. Nevertheless, if we follow science the way we like it, and if we appreciate religion to the extent we love it, we can walk on parallel tracks and our lives will become the very locomotive engine, the train, and this train can go smoothly without any derailment and can reach the destination with all love, affection and logic. So with this intention, I have always thought and believed that rendering lectures or discourses on religion helps me understand the contribution of science to a large extent, and I could be a better human being, a good citizen, and after all, one little contribution that we could do for the benefit of the larger mankind. Thank you. Kushika Sutta Katitha Vidhita Nava Vividha Katha. This is a beautiful line composed by a great poet who talks about how Ram, in his young age, listened to stories from another great sage called Vishwamitra. He says he listened to stories in a newer format. So, what happens as we pass over time, which is one coordinate for us? It becomes very important for us to understand the older stories, the ancient stories, the way that we can connect to in the current day. So, how is this connect possible? This connect can be possible if what we hear as stories is said the contemporary way, or if we take the efforts to understand that and connect to our everyday lives. So, what is the prerequisite for this? To keep our notions non prejudiced. We should not have any preconceived notions about religion or scriptures. Take a scripture as if it's the first book you're reading. Of course, there could be many questions that could arise. There could be many doubts that may itch your mind. Nevertheless, wait for the time to tell you the answers. There could be so many things, so many incidents that we are victims to in our life. Maybe we may not get an answer as to why this is happening for us at that point in time. Wait for the time to tell. Because things that are left as dots are joined by a factor called the time. And time is under the control of one. He is the supreme person. Though we may not be able to see him as if we are seeing our parents before, it becomes very important on our part to respect that time. Now, the moment I said, as if seeing parents before us, parents are a replica of that supreme person. So it becomes very, very pertinent on our part, the younger generation especially, to respect our parents. I know they could be wrong at certain times. They could be wrong the way they speak. They could be wrong the way they articulate. They could be even wrong in some of the decisions that they take. But it doesn't mean that we need to backfire or we need to fight with them. It becomes very important that we respect our parents. So respecting parents can take us in our lives a long way. So I would urge and request all the youngsters who are my friends to take this into their mind. Respecting parents is the foremost of all our duties, and this will help us climb the path of our career, our spiritual journey too. So respecting parents followed by respecting our traditions. Why should we respect? Comes one question. We cannot seek a proof for everything and anything we do. Time is very limited. We have too many obstacles before us. Time itself, shortage of time itself is a big obstacle. So it becomes very correct to follow a time-tested path. And the time-tested path is because we are not a dharmam, a religion that was started 100 or 200 years ago. We have got people like Vyasa and Vasishta who lived yugantaras before us, and they have seen that this is the right path. So shouldn't we believe? So it becomes very important that we respect, believe, trust, and to a large extent, how much ever we can, follow. Practice is very important than preaching. People may preach, they may not practice. To be a good human being, to be a good dharmic individual, and to be a good citizen is all in our hands, and we can do it. The youth of today have the caliber to learn technology in 1 second. So why can't they follow it in 1 second? We can, if we have the will to do. So where there is a will, there is a way. Thank you. As we sow, so we reap. This is just not meant for a farmer. It's meant for every sentient soul which uses the body as a career. We resort to various activities. The activities could be physical or even mental. I could hit a person, that's physical. I may think about hitting a person, that's all mental. As per the karma theory, hitting a person physically may have a lesser sin attached than thinking of even hitting that person mentally. So, karma theory is not as simple as we think. Though it exists and we are fully aware, we are unaware of the way it is being calculated, and we still do not know who calculates it. So, it becomes very important that we all make our minds conditioned, seasoned, and act mature. How do we act mature? Maturity is generally thought to be directly proportional to our age. If I am less mature at 10, it is believed and it is aspirational to say that I'll get mature when I'm 20 and even mature when I'm 30. Need not be so. A child of 5 could be more mature than a person who's 75. So maturity doesn't come with age. Maturity comes with understanding. Maturity comes with a lot of contemplating and then deciding and then finally vowing to say, yes, I'm going to be mature. And what is the result of being mature? The result of being mature is, as it happens, and so it happens, I need to face. What should I face? I need to face what life throws up to me. Life could throw the best of the times to me. Life need not have to throw the best at all times. I could go on 401 and say, today there was less traffic, I was lucky. I could start early but still be caught in the traffic. So I did what I could, but I was still caught in the traffic. That was not avoidable. Likewise, when we are born, changing or moving to another faith is not going to help. All that is going to help is to face it. And faith is just going to help you tell that when you believe in God, you feel the bliss, you feel the peace at that moment. And the next moment, when you take the concentration off, you're still going to face that dance. So changing faith or may not be equivalent to changing a political party. Here, changing faith may not even come with benefits. Changing faith just may rechristen me, but may not help me change the actions that I'm going to face. So it becomes very important that every person of every religion thinks, yes, I have to be a good human being, do good to the society, not be tolerant, but respect every other's faith and religion. Tolerance is a very low word. When I say I'm tolerant, all that I'm saying is, you do what you do, I do what I do. I may not even respect you, you need not have to respect me. That's tolerance. But we should go to a word that's higher, which is mutual respect. I respect what you do, you respect what I do. I believe in what you do, you should believe in what I do. Because we have taken different paths to reach the same destination. So when you're on one path, it doesn't have to be that you have to change lanes. Changing lanes would be easy on 401. That may not help on the dharmic path. So let's all cooperate and coexist as a good, friendly, human society, because all that differentiates us from the animals is only the path of the sixth sense, and the sixth sense includes the emotional quotient to it. And to respect the emotional quotient, we should be respecting each other mutually. So let's all coexist and pray that this world exists as one single family with no differences at heart, maybe at practice. Thank you. Keep in mind is also the age, because when Ram went to the forest with Vishwamitra, he was 12. Marriage 12. Sita 6. When he left to the forest, 25. When he came back, 39. When Ram entered Lanka, it was a solar eclipse. When Ram fought with Janasthana in Kara, it says about Rahu Prasthanam Grahanam. So all this has been clearly mentioned. So we come to a conclusion that it must have been January 10th, 5110 BC. Which gives us a 7,000 years gap, close to 7,100 or 200 years. Now comes a question. If you say that birth of Ram is January 10th, we say Chitra Masam comes in April or March. How is that possible? Because for the equinox, there is a change of one day for every 72 years. So now the age gap difference is 7,200 years. So that means there must be a difference of 100 days. So January 10th to the current thing, you will arrive at March, April. Correct?
idhula vandu nariya parameters. Okay, there is another thing. Now over a period of time, when oceans had hit this setu, sand got accumulated on either sides of the setu. Now when they do a cross section, they say that there is a ridge, there are rocks above, and the logs of wood have turned into coral reefs. And the oceanic ridge, which is a natural formation, is 17 lakh years. That is natural. But this portion which is man-made is 7,000 years. The carbon dating says. Now comes another question. As per our Yugantaram, 43 lakh 20,000 years is a set of 4 yugas. 4 lakh 32,000 years is Kali Yugam. Twice is Dwaparam. Thrice is Treta. 4 times is Krita. So 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1, 10. 10 into 4 lakh 32,000 years is 43 lakh 20,000 years, which is 1 Chatur Yugam. So if at all it is Treta Yugam, it must have happened lakhs of years before. Now you should understand, when I said 60,000 years Dasharatha ruled, we had a scale. Likewise, we should use a scale here. I'll tell you why. Because if we go by the strict definition of Yugam, then Telugu and Kannada people call the birth of a new year as Yugadi. Yugas Adi. They celebrate it every year. But every year the Yugam doesn't start. It should have actually been Varshadi or Samvatsaradi. So what Yugam really means is a time period. It does not specify a number. Because Arunachala Kavirayar says, when Sita was separated from Ram, every minute was a yuga for her. Panikala varijam pole nirankushi pagal oru yugamaga kalitale prayasi. So yugam is essentially a unit of measurement, not only employing the number of years. So we have got so many years between us. Now when they do a cross section, they are able to say that carbon dating testing is corresponding. Now comes the question, why is that Setu not usable? If Setu has to be there, we can walk to Lanka easily. Why? In 1403 BC, the geographical data suggests that there was a larger tsunami in the Asian Pacific planet. So that broke the Setu into pieces in certain areas and it got submerged. See, you might all know there was one place called Dhanushkodi near Ramanathapuram. People lived, it got submerged. So, interestingly, in Mahabharatam, which came in 3000 BC, 2000 years after Ramayanam, you have one shloka in the later Parvam where Ghatotkacha, the son of Bhima, and his youngest uncle Sahadeva, they walk to the southern direction. Then Ghatotkacha says, Sahadeva, you go back to Yudhishthira, I shall walk on the Setu, reach Lanka and meet my ancestors and come. So Setu was very well used. Even in 1960s, I remember my Acharyan saying he would go on a boat to the Setu. The boatman will take him to the middle of the ocean, make him stand on that Setu. There will be little waters. They will stand on that, do the Tarpanam there and come.
Kshemameva varundhe Srimad Paramahamsetyādi samasta virudāvare virājamāna Paramapujya Jagadguru Sri Sri Bharathi Tirtha Mahaswamibhi Vidhushekara Mahaswamibhischa anugrahitoyam prasadaha Shri Devāde Punarnivedyaha Kshemo vai Rashtrasya Shito Vātaha Kshemameva varundhe Shri Devāde सर्वदेवत्यं वैवासः सर्वा एव देवता प्रीणाति